Hello, everybody. Welcome to the State of Decay stream. I am your host for today, Joe Swarner, and today we're going to be talking about Update 33, some of the things that have gone into it, and the fact that it is now live on the PTR. For those of you who don't know, that's the LabTech beta branch on Steam. Anybody who owns it on Steam can access it. Just go to the betas and you can download it. We were having some problems earlier today. We tried to ship it out to you about 10 o'clock this morning. I think we've got those resolved now. If not, please let us know in chat, and we'll get it all taken care of. With me today to talk about Update 33 and all the changes that we've made, we have a lot to talk about, really. And it gets kind of technical. So, I brought an engineer because I'm not always the most technical person. And, I'm just a non-sentient AI. So I brought in a professional. Zoe, that's you.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to monitor the stream. Hello. I am here to corroborate any code-related questions for the update. It's been a long several months since the last one, and we've gotten a lot of useful feedback and found some interesting bugs involving very many ferals, which hopefully should all be resolved, giving us something approximating a release candidate for what this thing is supposed to look like. Hopefully we can get some feedback from you all on how it performs and how it plays, so that if there's any last minute issues, we can know about them at least before we go live.
Exactly, and that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. Things that we were trying to accomplish since the last time this was in beta. And we are going to be talking about the public test realm, i.e. the beta branch here, so that we can do a few things. The first thing that I wanted to mention is that we'll be playing in Lethal Zone today. I know a lot of you out there that are viewers play in the Lethal Zone, and I know that our playtest realm audience tend to be more toward the lethal persuasion. And so we're going to take a little bit of a look at it. Hopefully I don't die today, but it is always an impossibility. It is always a possibility. Now, one of the first things that I noticed when I loaded up my game today, I'm on the wrong window. There we go. One of the things that I noticed when I was loading up my game today is that all the infestations that I had and the heart states, whether they were awakened or not, they're still retained for the beta players, because we haven't changed necessarily the roots, and Zoe could probably say more about what that actually means, which is why she's here. But live players are going to see something a little bit different. Zoe, take it away while I try not to die. Yeah,
for this version of PTR, we've done a lot with infestation parentage and how they spread and how they stop spreading if you take care of the heart that created them. And unfortunately, a lot of that depends on data that wasn't there for the first PTR round. So anyone going live with this update is honestly recommended to start fresh to get the full experience. If you're resuming a community that you had from the previous PTR build, many of them will probably wither. Those that don't will probably not perform quite as well as you're expecting, in particular how they
That's it for those.
build towards the new seed mechanics.
But it's in the middle of a plague zone. Think it could be worth the risk?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that pretty much cover us?
I think so. Unless
Okay.
you had a...
Oh, I'm just about to do some really scary things.
Okay, have fun.
So I've used some scent block here as I'm approaching an infestation. Infestations to which we have added loot, but we're not ready to talk about that yet. We got some Haven device things that we're going to be talking about today, and I thought maybe we could start with that. I didn't get a community that has the Haven device, so by the end of stream, possibly even after I do this little thing here. Did I bring anything? No, I didn't bring anything useful. I just brought a bunch of these. Okay, so we'll start by killing that guy. And then we're gonna try to kill these ferals without too much delay. Ah, they're making a mess over there. Okay. Fine. Hi. Uh-oh.
To answer the question about swapping,
What's that?
to answer the question from chat about swapping mats, yes, that should allow the infestations and hearts to refresh. And players moving from pre-PTR altogether, any infestations that you have on your live game when update 33 goes live will wither away and vanish, and then be replaced with ones that are tied to the new infestation system.
All right. So you notice there that when I killed those ferals, some stuff dropped. All right. Where are we at? Did I destroy all of them? Oops.
It looks like it.
Oh, the other one also dropped some magic ammo. There goes the infestation. Now, I brought all of those explosives so I could try to kill this juggernaut. I've only got one explosive left because there are too many zombies. Just like that. But I don't know if I've got enough. I don't think I can kill him. So we'll come back another day. But anyway, the idea there is that you can then use this to sort of keep your ammo supply a little bit higher, but you're not talking about much. But the Haven device changes that I wanted to talk about, we do want you, especially those folks in the PTR, to take a look at the Haven device. If you've never had the Haven device before, you need to be on Trumbull Valley, and you need to drive toward Mount Tanner over there, and then you've got a whole laundry list of missions to complete after that. But essentially, we want, if you want to take a look at the changes for the Haven device, and you don't already have one, just come into Trumbull Valley, and then drive north through Spencer's Mill. And then get those started. Okay. Don't run over bloaters. Always bad.
Have we talked about what exactly the Haven device changes were?
Okay, so the Haven device in its original form stopped you from having sieges. That is no longer the case. Now you're the sieges are based on whether or not you have siege sites and whether or not those siege sites are of a certain severity, or and so when you're looking at those, you kind of have to take a look into it. Zoe, you and I had actually taken some time and reconfigured those numbers too, in terms just recently, so that little sieges are still likely to happen. However, it's also more likely as you go on that you're going to have a greater challenge when it comes to the sieges. So the Haven device had two functions. One was to completely stop sieges from previous siege types from triggering, and then it also had sort of an in-person effect, wherein you would it would kill zombies for you. And so it's still going to do that, but it is going to be greatly limited. Zoe, if you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, the problem with the old Haven device is that it was too good. It both didn't work at all if you weren't in the area to kill anything, and if you were in the area, it would just blanket kill anything that came to your base. So we went in and we did two things. We tied it to the new siege system so that it will essentially negate one round of an incoming siege if you're not there. And we allowed it to kill a certain number of zombies at once for a certain amount of time that is approximately equivalent to the same number of zombies from a single wave of the siege. Mm-hmm. So that whether you're there or not, the Haven device is still useful, but not going to win you every siege just by being. Yeah. It's also got cooldowns, so that if it's used in a particular wave, then you have to wait a while before it can be used again.
Yeah, and it's so it still kills things just as quickly as it did before. It just kills fewer of them. And So like the amount that it will kill is equivalent to one wave of a siege, and then after that it's on a cooldown, like a recharge. And there's a nice little notification over here in the left hand side that you will eventually see. Wherein
So, how long
it tells you whether or not it's gone on cooldown. It's a big red notification. Hopefully you can't miss it.
Uh-huh.
It
And whose this is about?
will happen only if a siege is in progress or if you're in person.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the big changes that we've made, besides the Haven device, now that it's gotten its changes, I know that you and Randy were working really closely on Horde pathing, etc. Something about nodes and maps, and I don't know. It's all technical mumbo jumbo. So, if you could
The download.
let people know
Download of
what that all was about.
So basically, when Trumbull Valley launched, all of the pathfinding for finding ways from one side of the map to the other was highly detailed and a little bit crowded compared to how other maps worked. This mostly didn't have any impact because hordes didn't move around much on the maps. But now that hordes move around to settle new infestations and to reinforce and to launch sieges, things like that, where the pathfinding was inconsistent, can seriously mess up the ability of the player to have a good experience in the game. So Randy and I went in, mostly him honestly, and poked at specific trouble spots with the Trumbull Valley pathfinding, trying to make sure that the hordes could get from anywhere on the map to at the least the proximity perimeter of the base. Lots of bugs came up about that. I think they're mostly resolved. It's probably not perfect, but
Yeah, there's and especially in Trumbull Valley, like being able to see where the path led to. There are a bunch of folks out there that have seen this. We tried to fix a lot of those issues by doing a full refactor of the nodes and how the hordes path. What were some of the other solutions that you implemented? Zoe, did those ever? I guess I forgot.
I gave the AI for zombies in hordes a few different backup strategies to get around bad pathfinding. I adjusted how it switches between long distance and local pathfinding a little bit so that it can hopefully navigate the same way in local and long distance pathfinding if nothing else is causing it concerns. And I gave it a few different ways of wiggling its location to get itself out of a stuck area.
Oops.
But ultimately, a lot of this has just come down to how the macro level paths are built. And that wasn't something that could be done in code.
I don't seem to have any of those, so we'll take a grenade. Take some fire. We'll try to be sneaky, but sometimes Mickey likes to get into trouble. Yeah, basically, like hordes now can find their own way or find a different way to sort of get around where they were before. And if we take a close look at the map, I guess I could be doing this too. There might actually be some hordes that are wandering around, but maybe not, considering I just killed a whole infestation or two right before we started.
One thing worth noting on that map is that the layout of where infestations spawn is one of the things we looked at the most closely. We tried to make it so that infestations will not spread out across the entire map so much. They will target where your base is and move towards that more consistently and directly, so that you don't have to go on cleanup detail nearly as often. That, along with withering mechanics, should make it so that infestations as a mechanic are a lot less frustrating to deal with over time.
Maybe I missed it, but what's the? Did you already explain withering mechanics?
That's a lot of zombies.
My impression was that was covered last week, but
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't last week. It was like the last time we talked about the PTR. But if you could go ahead and review that for the people that don't know, or for posterity for YouTube.
yeah, withering is that if an infestation's parent plague heart is destroyed, then that infestation will stop growing and will grow in reverse until it gets to a size of 0 and disappears.
All right.
So if you get a plague heart that has a lot of infestations coming off it, you can clear a large area of the map very fast. But the downside of that is you have to get to the plague heart through a lot of infestation territory.
Uh-oh. All right. We got some dangerous hordes.
Horde coming in.
Mickey doesn't like being quiet. Okay, we got you.
That bloater could make a real mess.
All right, grab this and go.
Hey, Mickey, I think I found it.
Don't have to kill everything, but it usually helps. All right. What did I do with my bar? I was being all sneaky, wasn't I? Okay.
You do have that icon of the last visited vehicle.
I do, but it was way off my mini-map. Oh, gosh. All right.
To answer the question in chat about the Haven device, it works the same on all communities, so all the changes made will update the Haven device in your community.
Clean up the
Yeah.
notes you made while I was recovering, huh?
All right, here we go. All right, let's get out of here. Find a safe place to give this Clio core to Mickey, and then we're good to go. Oh, we'll do it right here so that we're close to the close to a simple infestation to take out, or not, because there are just a bunch of hordes hanging out. So we'll find an outpost, and then we'll be safer that way. Okay. All right. So that's the Haven device down. We talked about horde pathing a little bit. Now, one of the things that we noted, and some of the things that I did want to talk about, it used to be that players were reporting in our previous beta version that it took too long for hordes to get to the base, and so we really worked hard to address that. Zoe, I know that you did some stuff to make them walk faster once a siege is in order. Is that also the case?
Well, I better get this back to the nerds. Thanks for the help. You were actually pretty good in there.
Uh-oh, what happened, Zoe?
Back at you, champ.
Here's a little something for your trouble.
Are we losing you, Zoe? Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, I see. You're losing connection. Got it. Okay. All right. So I don't have time for a siege right now, but
I
essentially
know you can hear me, but I'm hearing robot voice and I do not have very good audio. I'm assuming I don't have very good microphone either.
I can hear you very clearly. I don't know if they can or not. But something happened.
It's
Oh, right. I
my
opened up
local
the
network.
message. Okay, there we go. All right.
I didn't go away. I just can't hear what I was saying.
Okay. All right. Okay. Are we back? Are we back? All right. Good, good. Okay. So what I was talking about was when a siege actually happens, I know that you had been working really hard on making sure that the players had complained.
Any of this?
Okay. I'll try to message it.
May have to restart.
The whole PC or... Okay. try to turn off the camera and while Zoe tries to sort out her issue over there. We'll try to sort this out. Anyway, once everything gets back, we'll talk about sieges. What happens with sieges now is that you the siege hordes that come off of these infestations. So you'll see we've got a whole bunch of infestations, but we don't have anything that's there. So these infesting hordes, they used to travel much farther and much worse. This one's about to create a siege site. And so we've got this one's probably heading for this building because it's done that a lot. And for the farmland compound, it's very limited in which sites that are infestable can be sieges. But once a siege starts, we'll try and let that build up for a little bit. Oops. Well, let's go back to this. Let's swap out to somebody who's not injured. Put this away. Yeah. And then make sure we're always reloaded. You never want to be caught off guard. We like Pandora, but we don't want to take her out. You don't want to... Alright, Tian, let's go. Okay, so pathing has been... it was a problem with the current PTR because you would go out and you would help finish up a siege, because you can... Once a siege launches, you can actually just kind of grab the hordes as they are in transit. All right, looks like admit. There we go. You can just kind of grab the hordes while they're in transit. We all good now, Zoe?
It looks like it.
Okay.
So if anyone has a Google Home Wi-Fi, consider this an anti-ad.
All right, so we were just talking about how there were some inconsistencies. Now I know that you and Jeff had worked to make it so that the away from base consequences didn't trigger as often for sieges, because you can intercept them here as a solution. But on the previous PTR, I do know that we were also wrestling with the difficulty. I cleared that infestation and I forgot to go back for the portable generator. That we were wrestling with the fact that doing it that way often led to away from base consequences that were unintentional, because you were technically taking part in the siege, but it was still counting against you. And so I know that you and Jeff took some steps to make sure that that got solved, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
So last PTR push, last beta, contribution to a siege was measured by whether you were in the area of the siege,
I believed in that stuff.
as opposed to measuring whether you actually killed anything. So now, it just checks if you killed things. It's relatively simple conceptually, but did take a little bit of code finagling for a couple different background reasons.
Yeah. Only siege sites. That's correct, Mark. Only siege sites affect your morale. You can have as many infestations as you want, but until you get these happy little siege sites, your people know enough that they know that they're not under real threat. So it doesn't really bother them. When this starts to go up, this starts to go down. Okay. Which I don't know if that was a thing that we had changed previously or not. I know that we had talked about it, but I know that people here probably haven't been around for every stream, and that's okay. All right. So, now one of the things that I was really happy about, since we're talking about hordes, pathing, and all that kind of stuff, but you really wanted to talk about like the changes that have been made to horde spawning. And also one of the things that I noted is that in addition to horde spawning, can you talk about how we cleaned up infestation spawning?
I mean, the main thing was just making sure that the spawn tools make sense. A lot of the things that we put in kind of last minute before the last PTR, like the many ferals, were based on essentially first round build outs of what is supposed to go in a horde at each difficulty and what is supposed to go in an infestation at each difficulty. So we had the time to do a full pass, taking into account everyone's feedback from the first round and a lot of playtesting to make sure that the stuff that spawns in hordes and infestations is mostly what you'd expect.
And then one of the things that I've noted and that I really want to call out here is just that a lot of infestations. I don't know if this is going to work out real well, but we'll see. A lot of infestations will spawn in long before you get there. One of the things that we've had for a long time. Now you'll notice how far away I am when that actually like just spawned in, right? Like the bloater's already gone, so he's probably dropped his loot. It's not worth much because it was only a severity 1. But the infestation started, and I was much further away than I have been in previous iterations. So, I thought that was super helpful as well. I don't know if that was something that... I know it's something that we have changed since the last time we even had a PTR, but...
Yeah. Indoor spawning got a little bit of an upgrade in terms of how far away it can happen. And that is Eric's doing, actually. Some deep physics system finagling to get that working, and it should work on both infestations and other indoor spawn locations, and should give you a little bit more runway for dealing with things without getting up close and personal with a juggernaut.
And so what you saw there was not only did it spawn in a little bit better, so thanks to Eric for putting it in there. But also you noticed the little bit of loot that was in there. It was like 2 rounds of 50 caliber. That's what we call magic ammo. So for those of you who missed the last time, magic ammo is one of the options that you can get now that infestations, not only do they spawn in sooner, but they also drop loot. And that was something that Zoe and I had worked together on in terms of trying how to best balance it and how to approach it. But Zoe did most of the hard lifting. I just put in silly math numbers. So Zoe, if you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
I didn't even do much hard lifting. It was just using the other project. But yeah, loot drops. They make sense as a way to get the player to care about having infestations on the map, as opposed to just, hey, I just want to kill a horde as soon as it wakes up.
Right.
They give a little bit of a bonus for dealing with hard situations, and they make sure that when you're expending ammo and expending explosives and maybe health items on clearing an infestation, it's not just a negative sum game.
Yeah. Good. And then I took what was basically for a long time one of the complaints among the community and also among some of the developers here at the lab is that there's just not the fact that in Lethal and Nightmare, and I think to some extent Dread, the loot drops for the special weapons cases are also reduced by the same amount of loot reduction as everything else. And so I added when you get to like a severity 3, when you get to a severity 3 infestation, you take down the freaks, and it's basically the equivalent of finding yourself a special weapons case. Maybe. It's not necessarily a guarantee, but you're going to get a weapon out of the deal because you just took down a juggernaut. Good luck.
Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that we put into this PTR and this update that is polishing up tiny bells and whistles from previous updates and just little things that went wrong. There were a few folks that had save loading issues from the Forever Communities update that we've hopefully addressed so that they can load into their existing communities. Bunch of bugs, so many bugs. Hopefully things should be in a relatively stable state when this goes live.
Yeah, and like we've been spending a lot of time trying to figure out what's the best way to go about fixing a lot of these problems. We looked at player reports from our support site, and then we were also looking at our own QA, and we always look at store reviews and things of that nature. By the way, for our current PTR, please make sure that if you find issues, and I didn't say this out loud, so I need to say it out loud, make sure you're submitting those to support.stateofdecay.com. Just submit a ticket with your feedback. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong here, Zoe, but I'm pretty sure that if it's unstable, we're going to hear about it, right? Like we already tracked whether players are crashing where.
Yeah,
Okay.
but sometimes there's crashes that, for whatever reason, slip past our monitoring systems.
Mm-hmm.
Just disguised as a larger, more frequent, and something we can't really do much about error.
Mm-hmm.
So if you encounter something, it's useful to let us know. Particularly, nobody's mentioned it before.
Yeah. So if you do crash, one of the things that we do ask for when you submit a ticket to support.stateofdecay.com is like your logs and things, if you can find them. They should be with your saved data, etc. All right, so here we are with a Sev 3 and a Sev 2, like right next to our outpost. Now I could try to save this. Oh, that's bad. See, look at that. That juggernaut just jumped right out of it. He was all cute. He was on the porch, and now he's not. All right. Well, we've got a 50 caliber rifle, and he doesn't know that. Oh God, where is it? Oh, I missed. Okay. Yes. Okay. Gotta run.
We make you work for your magic ammo.
Right?
Sit down, asshole.
That one's dead. Oh, it's a suppressor. All right. So magic ammo. Drink some of that. I gotta find that juggernaut. Where is he running? Where's he running? Where did the other barrel go? All right. What do we get off this guy? Hey, big guy. All we got is magic ammo. Now, the reason we only got magic ammo off of that guy is because he's from a Sev 2 infestation, which means he was inherited from something else, or because he was. Anyway, we got a Sev 3 over there. This is gonna be fun. It's gonna get real. Here comes another one.
Yeah, that's
No.
Getting low on that.
different zombies drop.
Take out the
Yeah, different zombies drop different types of things. Like the regular zombies aren't gonna drop anything. Your ferals have a chance of dropping all kinds of fun things, depending on the severity of the infestation that they're attached to. Juggernauts are the only ones that really drop weapons.
I think it's guaranteed that any given zombie will drop something particularly great.
Yeah, only at certain severities. Like if this was a severity 2 infestation, like the Juggernaut is not guaranteed to drop anything other than what you might get from anything else. So it could be magic ammo, but it could also be up to it's also up to the severity of the infestation. And so just because you kill a certain type of freak doesn't mean that you're going to get a certain type of loot. But I'm also looking forward to the feedback on that. It was something I put a lot of thought into, but it's also a simple fix if people aren't happy one way or the other. It's up to you. Oh, we gotta... Oh, you don't... Shooting a Juggernaut with a silenced the suppressed 22 is probably not the best idea. Not the most effective strategy.
So luring zombies into range of an infestation is a bit of a complicated question. If the zombie officially joins the infestation, which can only happen to a certain number of zombies of a given type, and if you then leave and return, you may get loot dropping from that zombie, like happened with the Juggernaut on the Sev 2 infestation.
All right, so somewhere I've got a feral that's still running around, but in order to kill these infestations, all I got to do is aim straight and kill it. Kill the screamers.
The loot will behave about like how plague samples do.
Oh, I heard it. Where are you at? Or am I just hearing things? Also, I can't aim straight. Dude. Okay. Gotta find the screamers.
Yeah, infestations only have a certain set of loot that they are programmed to ever drop. And that loot will be assigned to any zombie that's in the infestation. So if you kill the infestation and then kill the zombies, you can still get the loot. That's the other interesting thing to note.
Any regular zombie too? Or just the freaks?
It depends how you configured it, but freaks.
I think it's just freaks, yeah. I was basing it solely on freaks so that it's not just always a loot fest, right? Because sometimes you can afford to go after that Juggernaut, or sometimes you can afford to go after that feral right there. Now you notice that like both these infestations are cleared. Oops, shot above his head. So smart. There. He should drop loot. If I can get to execute him. Yep, there you go. Alright, so we get another professional suppressor. Gotta say, it's a little lackluster on the loot right now, but... you know, I did get a gun. So, and I'm not sure if I should have gotten that gun. We'll see. Got some magic ammo from the Juggernaut, so that'll keep the fight going. But it looks like I got a whole lot of not useful stuff. Okay.
The loot drops do remain on the ground.
Yeah, I just gotta outrun all these silly zombies. And that still took a whole lot. One of the things that I did note is that people were worried that this was gonna make things too easy. Now, I didn't consume as many resources as I could have here, but certainly... Oops. I guess I won't be going anywhere. We kill the zombies or we die. Alright, got it.
Yes, loot is determined by difficulty.
I think I made them the same across the board.
Oh, well, it could be.
Yes, we could reconfigure it.
But at the very least, higher difficulties are going to have more freak zombies in infestations.
Yes, correct. So like on green, you're gonna have some bloaters to kill, right? Whereas, say, like you just saw me do right here, I had 2 Juggernauts, 4 ferals. The bloaters pretty much kill themselves, but it's gonna keep me. That cloud's gonna keep me from just instantly going in and taking care of that infestation. And so, you know, while I can do these things, it's not necessarily going to, like, I expended a lot of resources. I'm about half of the ammo that I had before I walked in, and some things that may or may not be so entirely useful. All right, so professional suppressor. I don't need more suppressors. And then some kind of a special gun, but I need to ask somebody if I'm even supposed to have that gun. I may have found a bug. So that's helpful,
What is a beta push without at least one bug?
right? Anyway, I don't know. I've never seen this gun before. I hope it's. I just use loot tables that I know are used. It could just be a very special gun that I've just never seen. At which point, I guess that means I've got more things to go find. Anyway, so as you can see, you do get really rare guns off of killing these juggernauts, and well, any Sev 3 infestation basically will operate that way. And I've got a whole lot of Sev 3 infestations. Now I've been letting these things go out here, but you're not going to see much spread or growth coming from the plague hearts for a while, because I cleaned out a couple of infestations, and that's going to help. It's going to pause the timer there.
Yeah, we mess with the cooldowns a fair bit to give you a fighting chance if you're fighting back.
Oh, I can't open the trunk, which is where my that's where my repair kits are. Oh, I'm so smart sometimes. I swear. Okay. All right. So the reason I picked that particular loot, like I said, there were player reasons, there were dev reasons. It always seemed a little odd that you can get really good loot out of everything, and every one of those special weapons cases in green, but then you couldn't get it in where it would be really helpful, like if you took the time to explore the sandbox. I did not grab the toolkit that I just crafted. I'm smart. Okay. So I was trying to alleviate some of the pressure there. We've upped the rewards, not only in terms of loot for infestations, but also in terms of how much influence you get from clearing them. So that's something that took a little doing. So you now get, I think, lethal it's something like 50. I don't remember what I've changed it to, but on lethal it's definitely 50. For each infestation. So there should be a little, as Randy said, a little shot of dopamine every time you clear out an infestation and you pick up some new stuff.
Plus the extra stuff we added to end of siege benefits.
Oh yes. So I've been. That's another thing. So we're sitting here. We're waiting for these siege sites. We're waiting for them to grow. They operate just like all the rest of the infestation system. And we've already got a new infesting out. It's going to infest our outpost. Which one? The only outpost in that direction is our fuel outpost. So I'm based on its direction there. I think that's about to go and try to take my fuel outpost.
Yeah, they don't necessarily attack just things next to them anymore.
Yeah. All right. So let's go and check this out. I don't want them running down my out. Oh, and I don't want to shoot a 50 caliber weapon. All right. So
Better be careful.
the bloaters are
Really cramped my
protecting
style.
the screamers, and the screamers are for calling all of the trouble. Here we go.
Great zombie co-existence thingy.
Symbiosis.
Barrel incoming.
Yeah, there we go.
Oop, barrel. That's not a happy thought. Hey, whoa. Nothing? You didn't see that? That random feral did not just drop infestation loot. It was probably just leftover like we still got to track all of that down, but or at least some of that down.
Joe, have you gone over the new visual layers that we added to the map?
Visual layers that we added to the map. Probably not. I'll need you to walk me through.
I'm here.
That's just the fancy new icons and the severity levels and withering icons and siege icons and just how nice everything looks together
Oh
now.
yeah, and it's it was a super major overhaul. I'm like mostly kind of like talking past it at this point, but it was a major overhaul to the UI. People had a really hard time. If you looked in the last version of the PTR, there were 3 little dots above an infestation, and depending on what color those dots were, it defined on whether or not it was a siege site. Just let me get somewhere safe. It's, kind of a misnomer here in Lethal Zone, but rooftops tend to be safer. So today, folks, we are talking about update 33. It just got pushed to the PTR. Some folks were having difficulty with it earlier today, but we should have that nice and sorted out. Okay, so what Zoe was referring to here, and Zoe, you did a lot of the UI work here in terms of the coding, right?
As far as setting some of the things up.
Yeah, and so we've got these. You've got your siege sites here. Now this would only launch into a severity 1 siege. It's not likely. Yeah, see, it's not likely to happen because we're beyond, like, we're into what I would call the mid game in State of Decay. So on higher difficulties, you're not going to see low level sieges very often. But when a siege does happen, you get prestige for it. Which is why we're kind of letting it grow. Okay. Where are we at now?
Like hearts do not wake up on their own.
Right. Plague Hearts no longer wake up on their own. That was a major change. You have to actively wake them up. Now there are still similar triggers, and depending on your difficulty, oops, I need to make another repair kit so that I don't have to stare at that for the rest of the stream. But depending on your difficulty, the triggers are going to be about the same. Like for instance, killing a Plague Heart, if it's within the same distance of another Plague Heart, it's still going to on lethal. I don't know that that's true necessarily on every difficulty. That was Jeff did the balancing. I'm sure it was good, but on lethal, it gives it an entirely. I like the way that it gives you an entirely different, like, tactical level. Like, you've got this sleeping Plague Heart here. If I kill this wakened Plague Heart, and these will all wither, right? Like, you can see. Oh, never mind. That infestation comes from that heart way down there. So this heart created this infestation. This infestation goes to this heart. And this infestation also goes to this heart. So by killing this heart, that would cause these 2 infestations to wither, but it would also wake this one up. And so probably my best bet here is to kill the sleeping Plague Heart before I kill the waking Plague Heart and make these wither. And with some of these changes to infestations and infestation loot, we're hoping that people get used to living with infestation.
Siege freaks do not drop loot.
Yeah, because a siege gives you prestige now.
And I think also influence.
I think you'll get influence for killing any freaks that are there, but but yeah, sieges are. The last I know, it was just prestige. I think I unless somebody went back and re-edited it, I think it's just prestige now. And we went with a value that would buy you some basic Red Talon weapons. Like, if you completed a severity
So
3
sick of plague
siege,
zombies.
you'll get enough prestige to buy a weapon from the prestige trader, but that's about it.
Then, of course, along with the overhaul to which actions wake up hearts, we also overhaul the stealth mechanics and how the hearts perceive the actions of teammates and other players, so that it's or other NPCs, so that it's a lot more fair to the player.
Yeah. Right. There was a thing in the last beta. Once you got to about the 50% point, there was a mechanic where they would just sort of automatically wake up and become aware of you, which led to a lot of people not understanding why they were waking up, which makes sense considering it wasn't something that you had actively caused. It was just the plague being a jerk, coming to life, and coming after you. Okay, so now you still want to. Now I'm gonna have another heart probably up here in this building. Yeah, but I haven't been up here, so
We'd love
they're
a
still
hand over
asleep.
here if you're willing to pitch in.
And we talked about this, I think, last month, but just to remind everybody, stealth kills do not count against you. So as long as the zombie is not aware of, the zombie that you're killing is not aware of you, the player, it will not count toward waking up.
The only things that give prestige are the systemic sieges, the ones that are triggered by plague sites, siege sites. If you use the Whitney Field thing, or church speakers, or Haven device, you will not get prestige.
Yeah, because they use different siege mechanics. They basically call different missions, so it's not gonna be the same. It won't give you the prestige. So you don't really have like a super farm just because you got the we call it the dinner bell, but I'm trying to think like, what else. Basically calling in a siege to your, oh god, this is the severity 1 that has inherited a feral and a juggernaut. I am out. This is not staying here. That loot is not going to be worth the fight. So by the way, as you can see, that's another thing. Did we ever? I don't know if I don't know if we've talked about inheriting infestations, inheriting freaks or not in previous streams, but basically, sometimes freaks will just kind of wander into an infestation, and it's just kind of there.
Yeah, we're not the largest team working on this thing, but we make up for it in heart.
Yeah. What we lack in number, we make up for in fight.
I'm seeing on the internal threads on the issue that the PTR should now be live. So,
For everybody?
yeah, hopefully, yes.
Okay, and we've got, do we have the, so when you go in for your PTR and inside your settings, in this menu, is it this number that I've got up here? Is it the 510912? Is that the one?
I have no idea. I don't have it open.
Okay.
I'm just on the thread.
Anyway, it should be that number that you just saw on the screen or later, and then you'll know that you've got the most current version of the PTR. So I've done a lot of driving around. I have consumed resources I didn't really want to consume to try to show off some stuff here in the beta. And we are, it looks like, at least in terms of time, we're coming up rapidly on the end. If there are any more questions that are from chat, probably get some of those answered. I'm gonna go and check Tian here into the infirmary,
Back and alive. What's good?
so she doesn't die.
Some of these changes will apply to existing communities in the old PTR. Some of them will be cleaner if you start a new build. For instance, a lot of the infestation spreading changes or the plague heart awareness is not going to look right if you go into the PTR right now on an old build.
Yeah. And this is an old save. That's why I have all these infestations all over the place. That's why my hearts are still saved. And if I started a new one, we would be in a fresh map. I would have no awakened hearts, and there would be no infestations. So it would all be okay. Everything will be okay. The thing that I like most, I think, about the changes that are going into the PTR right now is you can essentially be your own version of the Haven device, right? Like if you don't like the siege experience, you don't ever have to have one again. And you know it literally puts control of the sandbox into the player's hands, and you know there are some parts that are where you're just going to have to deal with what that means, how strategic you can get, but the idea is engage with the feature to, you know, trim just a few of these, especially these orange sites here, and you won't have to really worry too much about what the infestation is.
What counterpoint to what I said earlier about moving from old PTR to new PTR? Where does that move from old live version to this update when it goes live? Your maps should be roughly compatible, and any old infestations should wither away and then be replaced when you engage with the new features.
Yeah. So what you see here is me on an old beta build, and so the reason that it looks like this is because I already had we've made some changes numerically and systemically, but ultimately, like, how these are spreading is roughly the same as before. They're going to go after my outpost more, which you saw me take out that horde over here, and then they're going to try to create infestations that are called siege sites, and that are going to try to lay siege to your base. And the horde compositions, the different compositions. So to recap, we've made a lot of changes that we're really happy about, that we think that you two will like, once you get your hands on them and you get used to them. And so, you know, we look forward to your feedback. Let's see, we've got to be rapidly coming up on the end. So I'm going to go ahead and pop on over to my face, whether people want to see it or not. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. We can't do this without you. We love having you around. We really think that this is a really fun update. It makes State of Decay 2 makes the plague come alive and makes it feel like a real threat to you. And so we'll see how. I really look forward to seeing how y'all do with it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Zoe, parting thoughts?
Yeah, same as what you said. It's just a continuation of ongoing efforts to make sure all the mechanics fit together and produce a cohesive, immersive whole in a way that I think has really improved over the time since the game's gone live.
I couldn't have said it better myself. We've done a lot, and a lot of hard work has gone into this update, and we hope that you enjoy it. We think already that you're going to enjoy it, so let us know. With that, I guess it's time for the end screen. Zoe, thank you for joining me today. Sorry we didn't get to see many birds.
I have mine.
Oh, there she is. Okay. I didn't get to see any birds because I was busy. Anyway. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll see you next time. Okay, now it's time for the awkward sign off.
So when do we tell them about the other thing?
Which other thing?
The other thing.
Oh, the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're paying attention to the words
Well,
on
they'll
the screen
find
during the
out.
awkward sign off, and they already saw it.
Oh, the other thing to mention is caliber sorting is back. Woo!